Hi, my name is Steve Kinney, and this is a course on using Cursor and Claude Code to speed up your development. I created this course because there's a lot of talk about how to use these tools, but it turns out some of the tried and true software engineering practices are actually incredibly powerful for getting the most out of them. In this course, we'll cover tools like Cursor, Claude Code, and even OpenAI's Codex to see all the different ways we can interact with our code base using AI tools. We'll keep the chaos under control using traditional tools like Git, testing, and linting. And finally, we'll explore how to use rules and sub-agents to manage the context window to get you the best possible results with these tools. Take these tools and build the ultimate AI workflow. And we'll say, and you can see you get that kind of Copilot stuff in there as well, right? But you can say, and here's that tab feature, which is like ruining all of my mojo right now, where it kind of guesses what you want to do next, which is pretty great. And it's like kind of neat how it works. And so let's say, for instance, I take, let's make it like X and Y. And now I'm hoping that yes. And like, it saw that I just changed the last two variables of add from A and B to X and Y. And it goes, you probably want to do that for subtract, right? And you probably want to add the rest of these, which is like, yeah, if I wasn't trying to show how to use Control K, that would be a 100% true. And like it figured out like what to do with the export and so on and so forth, right? But you can do stuff like, you do not need to use proper markdown. I don't know why I'm like this. Cool. So I was like, hey, this is my own personal preference. I like to do export const. Doesn't matter. AI is generating the code base. I have to live in it, so it's gonna live in my styles. So two things. One is that like it, generally speaking, like got the intention with what I selected and what I want to do. Again, and like this is like this kind of surgical approach is definitely not the vibe in vibe coding. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are not going to create a giant mess selecting code and expressing your intention on one given thing. So, like, choose your level of risk-takingness, right? Obviously, this is closer to, like, this is just, could I do this with multiple cursors? Yeah, because that's, like, my one talent in life. But, like, the idea of just being able to do some of these quick refactors or stuff like that is incredible, right? And, you know, like... use currying in all these functions. Like, let's get functional programming about this. Right. So currying is when you have a function where you apply the first argument, it returns a function that waits for the second argument. Right. Not that bad in ES6. It used to be a pain previously. You can continue following up and giving it more things you want to do. The other thing that you might notice is that like both currently exist simultaneously. Right. Because like this isn't necessarily committed, quote unquote, just yet, right? This is effectively like, this is what you wanted, right? And it will do this in agent mode too. You will be much more tempted to hit accept all. But yeah, this like, you are not gonna make a big mess from this one modality. And it's arguably incredibly powerful because if you were gonna sit there in a larger code base and change these all by hand, it would take you a while. Do this stuff, totally. You can accept all of them. You can keep any individual one. In this case, you can add, more. In this case, we'll hit accept. And now you have these new pieces of code. Well, now if I leave this file in here and it's open and all of a sudden, like it's fair game. And so if you start getting results that you don't want, look inward and ask yourself, like, is this my fault? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes, again, there are good Claude days, there are bad Claude days. So we'll delete that file. And now let's try, progressively move up to wilder modes. We're in agent mode here. And we are going to say, I'm going to say at, so I can make a new file. I don't trust it all the time. So we're going to make, okay, I'm not going to waste your time with the small brain version. We're going to kind of move to at least the medium-sized brain version, right? It is one thing to say, build me a calculator. That could go one of many ways, right? What I want to say is in calculator TSX, right? build a calculator component. Now, if I do that, I will probably get something that resembles a calculator component, right? But I can get a little bit more specific. Put that component in @application TSX. So now it's going to read calculator TSX, which at this point doesn't really have anything in it. It's going to look at application TX. So we're getting more specific about like, then what do I want it to do, right? And we'll say, I want you to use reducer to handle the logic. The actual math should be done in a separate utility so that I can test it with 100% test coverage. The calculator should be accessible and use Tailwind to style it, right? The more specific you get, the more predictable your outcome is going to be. Mark?
Shouldn't you create a new chat?
I should. So honestly, if you're in the chat window, and let's say, ask me how I know this, because Mark has hit on why I know this, which is I get distracted. Let's say you typed all this. Command-N, it moves it to a new chat, right, with the current contents in there. And you can even see the things that I've brought into context are also referenced here as well, right? Do I need big brains for this? I don't need big brains for this. So go ahead, and now we are effectively in agent mode. And for some of this, it's kind of like makes some of like on one hand, it's amazing because it will do this faster than I can do it. On the other hand, we will sit here and watch its thinking, right? And like I'm gonna scroll up and we're gonna look at some of its thinking for a second. Great, I can see that Tailwind CSS v4 and Vitest are already set up. Now I'll create a comprehensive calculator. And I talked about that to-do list feature, right? So it starts to, first of all, we'll try to at least tell you that like it understood what you asked for, right? Again, ignore this at your peril, but then don't be surprised that it did something you didn't like. Accessible design, cool, we'll use Tailwind styling. I forgot to mention responsive design, so thank you for that. And then it creates a to-do list. You can go ahead and see. And so in this case, like we are like at a phase where we are kind of approving this step by step. So we've got calculator error. Like, okay, maybe that's slight over engineering, but it's a good pattern. As it's starting to like build this feature out for me. What I want to show you is the UX for doing so, right? Now, the lazy and dangerous thing to do is just slam on that keep all button and move on with your life and like follow the vibes where they go. And yeah, that's a thing. You can do it. And sometimes I do it, right? The other option is one, you can first of all see the like manifest of all the things that it did. Like here's all the files that I made and changed, almost like a git diff, like pre-git, right? You can see that it actually pulled in some like terminal commands into context as it was fighting with the type setup because like literally didn't use this repo for anything, don't know anything about it. And you can see all the files, so you can go ahead. And more importantly, in a given file, now these are a lot of new files, so there's one change, it is the contents of a file. But if it was like changing a bunch of functions in line somewhere, you could jump down and across through all of them. The other important one is kind of going across the different files, right? You can also use Option L for that as well, and kind of go through and see each one, right? You know, and we know that there are some issues that we're going to have to deal with here, which is like there are some red squiggly lines. So I know TypeScript is angry with us, so it clearly didn't like. We got to see when we like commit it all, but like I have reason to believe that it made at least some mistakes, right? Like, did I want all this? Did I ask for like this little banner? I did not, right? So like you can just go ahead and be like, no. Like you're still, like the nice part about Cursor, as opposed to some of the other tools, is that like at least where you are still in the driver's seat. Okay, let's try this. So we'll go into Claude. Yes, we've been in here before. And let's biggerize this all the way. And so there are a few modes in Claude. And like I said, we have the models and we have, that Claude MD file, and we can reference any of these files, but we have a few different modes that we can go into. And so if you hit Shift Tab, you can switch from the normal mode where I approve everything to auto accept edits, okay, to plan mode. And plan mode, my friends, is the moneymaker. Plan mode is like, let's go through everything and you come up with a plan and we will workshop it together. And plan mode by itself, I will almost always use in Claude Code. And this is arguably why I use Claude Code more than Cursor right now. Wait until Cursor drops the same feature in a week. But like I use this a lot in conjunction with any of these other like files. So I think I was talking about, I haven't decided that I'm going to do like, a TRPC or JSON RPC for messaging, or like what the gap analysis is. But a lot of times I will be like working on these. So a number of different tools I'll talk about at the end. And like, let's say we wanted to do, TRPC messaging, right? And getting to a plan where I will edit it, I will like refine it until I get a place where I like this is a good plan, right? And then what I will do is I will go into plan mode and I will say, let's find that one. And product summary, and come up with a plan. Again, this plan has got like several hundred lines of markdown in it, right? Come up with a plan to refactor our messaging system to use TRPC. Okay, so I'm actually going to get to show you a bunch of things all at the same time because I don't know what model I'm on right now, right? Also, copy and pasting out of this box is a pain. So I don't want to do that because it's not like a real like UI box, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it, but then I'm going to, I said frolicking. That was good. I'm going to hit escape, which just stops what it's doing, and I can actually interject again, where I'm just going to say model is opus in this case. And I can hit up and like go back to where it was. And what's going to happen is it's going to now read through that entire plan, right? It's going to then find the files that were referenced in there. It is reading those files. And again, I'm doing like this part I will do in Opus. All right, so check it out. So I had it read the entire thing. And before it did anything, I should have definitely started a new branch. I can go do that in another terminal window in a second. But you can go ahead and read through its entire plan on what it plans on doing. And then you have this choice, or really three choices. No, you can be, it's not like no, start over. No, I'm going to give you feedback. Or like, no, did you think about this? Or no, please don't pull in that library, right? But part of the reason this plan was so robust is not because Claude is a magical beast. It's because I gave it like a 200-line markdown file that I worked on